Very passionate about the Bay. That is my number one issue, one of the issues in the campaign. From the Bay standpoint, I've received numerous briefings, from VIMs to meet with environmentalists, to I've met with farmers. The key thing that I've found from the environmental standpoint is, why is the Bay dirty? And I've had numerous briefings, anywhere from the poultry and the animal waste coming down, to farmers with nitrogen, to a lot of different ways that the Bay is dirty. The thing that I've found, at least from what I've studied, is there's one thing that we can do to basically, I believe, is enforcement of the act, of the Chesapeake Bay Preservation Act, coming to the actual part of the buffer between the bay and land. That seems to be the key.
I think the top two environmental priorities, one is certainly the Bay. Absolutely. We are so blessed to be home to the nation's largest estuary. As Scott pointed out, that is a critical element. The other one is renewable energy. And we in the First District are blessed, again, to be a wonderful locality for solar power. Also just outside of the First District in Norfolk, there is a tremendous opportunity for wind power off the coast of Norfolk. It's just perfect conditions there in terms of some of the highest sustained winds in the country, a shallow depth so that it's less expensive to put the wind turbines in, so that's a great opportunity. The First District is a wonderful place for solar energy. Going back to the Bay, I think there's a few things we need to look at. Number one, the current regulatory regime for controlling non-point source pollution is just broken. We've got to fix it. We've got to get the EPA more involved in controlling non-point source pollution, and that'll go a long way. Number two, something that's not talked about much, and an area where Rob Whitman has been really egregious, is in controlling climate change. We could do everything right with the Bay in terms of controlling pollution, and it would all be for naught if we do not get climate change under control. It contributes to the algal blooms that create the dead zones that cause all the problems. This is a big issue, not only for the Bay, but also in the First District of Virginia. We are home to the second most vulnerable coastline to climate change, second only to New Orleans. So this is an area that will, quite frankly, be underwater if we don't get things under control. And Rob Whitman has voted time and time again against renewable energy. He voted against cap and trade. And we've got to get serious about controlling climate change, or else the Bay's in big trouble.
I do not support cap and trade. I don't support cap and trade. I do not support offshore drilling. I think that is absolutely, it makes no sense. I am a very big proponent of nuclear power, and I'm a very big proponent of natural gas. I am also a big proponent of alternative energy, of course, wind, solar, geothermal. If we're ever going to get to a quote country that's not importing billions of dollars of oil, we've got to go to natural gas, which we do have the supplies in this country to do that, and nuclear power. Some people say, what are you going to do with the waste? Well, I'm a firm believer in breeder reactors. That is a new type of reactor. It's not a new type of reactor, it's an old technology where it reproduces itself. That's why it's called a breeder reactor.
I am a supporter of cap and trade. I think that it's exactly the sort of market-based energy reform that, again, a responsible Republican should support. It uses market mechanisms to set the price, so it's as little government intervention as possible. And it's a policy that's been proven to work, helped us reduce acid rain under the Clean Air Act. So we know that it works. Other countries have implemented successfully, and I hope that the Senate gets on board and we pass a cap and trade bill. In terms of renewable energy, I think sun and wind are a better direction to go in. I am not ideologically opposed to nuclear. The waste is obviously a concern, particularly since it stays around for, 40,000 years. That's troubling, but what's even more troubling for the short term is the fact that construction costs on nuclear plants have gone up from an estimated $3 billion per plant 5 years ago to now an estimated $9 billion. From a very pragmatic standpoint, it does not make financial sense to invest in nuclear. I was disappointed, I don't know if you all saw this, the president has committed taxpayers to backing loans for nuclear power plants. The reason that the government had to get involved is because no one in the market thought that this was a good deal. 50% of nuclear power plants do not make good on their loans. So this is putting taxpayer dollars at risk, and I don't think it's the right direction to go in. I think solar and wind are a much better direction.